All right, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Owner's Manual. I'm Silk Swayze, and I'm accompanied with one of my dear loved ones, my big cousin, my mentor, helped me, my spiritual leader in a way, damn near. He was very pivotal in a lot of valleys when I was trying to get to the peak. But, entrepreneur Matthew McGore.
What's up, cuz? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
For sure, for sure.
Appreciate it.
How we doing today?
I'm doing good. I feel good to be on the platform with you. I'm proud of you. Let me say that.
Thank
I've
you.
been seeing the moves you've been making, and you didn't ask nobody, talk to nobody. You just did your thing, and I'm proud of you.
Tried
You know
to.
what I'm saying? Handling your business. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, let's get it started. Let's talk about this.
Of course.
Cannabis.
It's we as entrepreneurs are of course like keeping our ears on the street for any kind of like possibility or any opportunity, any idea that has a chance to kind of come to fruition in a way. And I remember we were like we still are, on that road to get a retail spot and a bunch of other licenses and market share in this industry. But tell us a little bit about your cannabis background, how you got to where you at.
Well, it started as an enthusiast. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna talk about when I started smoking because I don't know who's watching the podcast. But I will say though, I was definitely introduced to it when I was a young man, and look at me, so I'm a young man, but when I was younger, and I just became an enthusiast. It became a kind of a social connection for the people that I was able to, everybody that I was meeting with the actual weed at that time, bud, whatever we called it. You know what I'm saying? That good pack. We were smoking Reggie at the time. Who would have knew that it would have turned into so many strains at this point? But yes, just going back to the story, it was just started really enjoying it when I was younger, and as I got older, I found more meditative reasons for it. When I went off to college, I found more ways to connect with it more than just the recreational side of it.
Gotcha.
So when I came back after graduating school, and I seen the market in 2008. I graduated in 2012. When I came back to Michigan visiting, I seen it started in 2008, and it was just bubbling. I became a super enthusiast of real life. I would say definitely just a lover of all the different strains. So I just started dabbling in all the strains. My brother had his medical card, so I basically had my medical card.
Right.
No disrespect, everybody that did the right thing, he went in for us. So, I think it was really dope. I think smoking all the different strains, smoking early cherry pies, realizing that's going into some of the cuts that we now enjoy today, smoking original glue, smoking hydroponics through real hydro and different actual strains, original GANs, Afghan, Kush, that actually came from, it was amazing. So I really became a real enthusiast of it. And now I'm looking into it in the business. So now fast forward when I'm in graduating school in 2012, coming back 2013, and I'm really kind of looking at the market bubbling. I'm like, I really want to become a part of it, but of course I wanted to, start my career working with my degree. So I did that. Fast forward 2020, we go into pandemic. We coming through everything else. The jobs are not making sense no more. I'm not working my regular career or working in the businesses that I was invested into. So I looked at the cannabis like, oh, I need to really do this, and it became a really open thing. So I really started to talk to people that I knew that was involved in it, and it becoming more of a realistic thing.
Gotcha. So I was there for graduation, but where'd you graduate from?
Central State University out there in Xenia, Ohio, if you know where that's at.
I did. I had to Google it because I was like, where in the hell is it going? But, was it, what'd you major
in? Management Information Systems. So in layman terms, business computers, consulting with computers, consulting with companies to take down the cost of operations with computers. Gotcha. Very boring stuff.
Efficiency type stuff.
Yeah, efficiency.
Driving down that cost to production.
Most definitely, yes. Where it's still, we can see where it parallels in this business as well, where you can turn technology into. But we want to employ as many people as possible and give many people opportunities as possible. But technology is going to play a big part
for sure
in the future of this.
So my question is this: what was your reaction like when your brother first told you he got his Mad card?
I was very excited. I kind of knew it was in the process, but when the day came, it was like, oh yeah, no, we can go. We can go finally get to see what's going on in the shops. And as going into the shops, early 2008, when it was medical, it was really dope. The guys it was just a new exciting thing. I mean, of course, all of this restriction and regulation wasn't on it, so these guys had really nice shops. They were enthusiasts because the guys that came from medical was normally growers before this, and they come into the business, or it was real enthusiasts that even dropped the business because it was still an investment in the early. Was, of course, we know selling weed, what that can do, but I know it was an early business, so it was all the guys that I've met in it and all the shops I went to. These guys really loved it. They really was enthusiasts themselves. They was really knew about the cannabis strains, the different medical benefits of them. And the recreational fun that you can have with them as well, because as we know about the cannabis plants, it has so many different things, and even things we haven't even discovered yet. So I was very excited about that. Just learning.
And that's kind of like you outline why this industry is so great. Because like you said, we started in 2008. It wasn't the first state, but how we did it was different because we started. Like a lot of these successful entrepreneurs in this cannabis space started from that caregiver medical system,
Most definitely.
And then we stayed in that medical system for 10 years before going rec, so you got a chance to really see the medical side and like the benefits and really get that educational part before it became recreation. You had time to do it. Like a lot of growers had time for, to like trial and error type shit. You know what I'm saying? Because, like it was a while before we got like I said, 10 years. But even then, you could be a licensee grower, sell to dispensaries, or a caregiver and still sell to dispensaries. So it was kind of like, why do I need this grow license? And then I think some legislation came either in 2020 or 2021 that kind of blocked caregivers from selling to dispensaries.
That's a sad thing. And I think that's when we're seeing the kind of the corporate thing take over. Because why would you take the guys that really love it, that really was the foundation of this thing? When you was talking, it just popped in my head. The appreciation was different. The appreciation was found.
And it wasn't big cannabis.
It wasn't big cannabis.
It wasn't big cannabis. It was your local, dude, like I said, that was doing it. And successful. What were some shops you remember back in 2012? Any like that might be still around these days, or it's kind of like a thing, like a nostalgia type feel?
I don't want to forget my guys over there, but they were on the 7 Mile and Myers, and they were really dope. I can't remember their name. So, no, that was a really good shop. We're gonna talk about. Wow, the cannabis, how that does to you. But definitely, let's say Motown Meds was one of the spots that I really went to. I really enjoyed the cannabis. They were early off. They were down near Padjoy Road. And they were really dope. And there was a lot of shops that were dope. I will come back to it. We will revisit this. I'll look them up, because some of them still are here. But some of them did go away. Green Relief. There's a couple guys that did, and they definitely showed me love. But yeah, it was really good shops out there, and they really cared.
Do you still visit shops like in today's time, like, or you kind of grow your own? You got your homie. How do you procure your weed? Like it?
I got people that I in contact with that have connections with growers. Of course, I still do visit shops. Nature's Remedy is definitely one of them. They got a great product line, and they really care about their product, and they care about the people over there. I think they're a really dope place, as well as We still have some medical places. It's actually one of the first black owned dispensaries, but it's still medical on the medical side. So I still have to deal with it through the medical side, and they're right there on the Lodge and 7 Mile.
We in Metro Detroit right now, Ferndale, Royal Oak area, where it is recreational. You only got to be 21 and up. But in Detroit, it is still medicinal, aka you need a medical card to go into any shop in 2021. And it's funny, like being out here. I still see hustlers getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like they still got their loyal fan base. The market still exists.
It's legal. It's legal in so many words. You can transfer cannabis to other people that you want to go to.
But it's funny though, because some people tell me like in different geographical areas where it's so accessible, they say that game is dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Being from Detroit and like having your experience from entrepreneur.
We're talking about black market versus current market right out there, and they're going to do medical because they're not recreational. As we know, Detroit is still fighting to get everything straight, and we definitely need to get that talked about. That'll be another episode that I come back for.
Absolutely,
because the Detroit recreational cannabis market and infrastructure is taking a hit because they're not moving forward with the licenses and everything together. So we only have medical dispensaries out there, and due to everything has went recreational in other places, everybody are going to the outskirts of Detroit.
Right.
To, of course, get their cannabis right now. So I think right now the hustlers are winning Detroit. The hustler, if you're a hustler and you got cannabis and you're doing the right thing, you win it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that I know is doing everything legal and doing it the right way. Everybody that I have seen and experienced it. And they are creating the foundational culture. The foundational culture for what we're going to have as our cannabis market in the future. And the thing that brings people for tourism is going to be that. So those guys are the pioneers right now.
For sure. Man, about the cannabis industry, we was tapped in, of course, when you had to have 300, in equity, like, in assets, I'll say.
Yes,
$300,000
in assets to apply for the license.
What does that do for the industry from your point of view? Like being like a lifelong, quote unquote, a term that had meaning but don't know more, like legacy.
Yes,
Detroit.
I'm a Legacy Detroit member, official Legacy Detroit member, was approved over the summer. And what they're doing to it, so let's just talk about it.
Right.
The legal cannabis market in Detroit was supposed to go recreational when they decided to do it in 2020. Was it 2000 and...
I think it was 2020. Like, it was when they first started accepting applications.
Yes, as they was supposed to actually start to accept license and applications for it. During that process, before they were actually able to actually process the application, they were accepting them, but they didn't process them yet. It was a lawsuit put against them in that year, and we've seen that it totally destroyed the current market.
It's putting shit on hold, really, and it was like a system that Councilman Tate wanted to implement where the licenses were distributed to Detroiters, and it was deemed unconstitutional, and it just kind of threw a monkey wrench in it because a lot of med-only dispensaries began to struggle in the sense, and like they were struggling to compete.
Yes, and they were going to be headed off the market for 2 years. So, like he said, it was set up for Legacy Detroit members, people that have been living in Detroit for 10 years or 15 years plus, to actually be they were supposed to be given front row seats, be front in line for the license. They were supposed to get priority licenses. over the people that was outside of Detroit. So the Detroit was supposed to get the licenses, and of course, somebody that was applying for it, a young lady, I think a young lady, I don't remember her name. She put a lawsuit against the actual city for that, against the actual program, saying that that was unconstitutional, and it stopped the whole market. In that time, I was working on the cannabis brand that we still have in motion, that we're still waiting to get a recreational dispensary for, Paradise Valley Cannabis, and we were working on getting a deal set up with another cannabis brand that we were going to first do their dispensary, and then we were going to do one of our dispensaries. So we were all set up, and we were just waiting for everything to go through. And before we had everything officialized and get everything going, the lawsuit was put against it. Totally froze the deal and took me out of the game. The guy eventually moved on and started to make other deals, and a lot of other people lost out. So we've been 2 years in the waiting process for that. A lot of people lost their money and had to reapply for their licenses, reapply for social equity, and of course we know that the legacy means nothing anymore. So it messed up a lot of people in Detroit, and this was meant to help people in Detroit. And it ended up hurting people in Detroit after the lawsuit was put into place.
Yeah, might be my best episode. But if you are out anywhere in Michigan and there's not a medical or recreational ordinance set in place in your county or city or town, and you want it to be, call your city councilman, call your clerk, ask them if this is on the agenda, and if it's not, what do we got to do to put it on the agenda? And if we got to get signatures, if you really care about that, you hit the ground running, and you got to do what you got to do, because there is still an effort for prohibition for this alternative form of medicine that has changed lives.
Couldn't say it better myself. Definitely.
In the terms of, becoming a legacy Detroiter, can you tell me about that application process and what you have to go through?
The application process needed you to prove that you lived in Detroit for the last 2 years. So you would think that a document that showed that you had proof, maybe a rental agreement that showed you being for 5 years, or a house deed that showed you being for 20 years, or however you think that would be an applicable amount of documents to submit. But they wanted a document for each year. Mm-hmm. For that, and they still do for that program. So it would still be for that program, and that has certain benefits still. And I think it's a really great program. They just had this lawsuit put against it, but you need a document for each year. So every year you were here, you needed some type of document, and they wanted a serious document. They wanted a bill. They wanted a transcript. They wanted something like that. Due to I was in the foster care system, my full document transcripts was submitted to the actual foster care system while I was here in school. So I was able to get that sent to me from the foster care system, and they were able to, I was able to use that as each year documentation. I had a transcript for each year that I was in school. So that's how I was able to get through with having still a rental agreement and having, I believe, certain bills still to submit. So all of those documents, they really look for.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Transcripts don't get sent overnight.
How
long did that take?
Down to the final hour. It took months. So probably 2 months.
And the funny thing is, I feel like that was something we knew about at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So it was from the very beginning when it opened till the end.
Yeah. And then I had to fight for that. I had to get, they still had me get an affidavit, submit an affidavit for those particular documents that wasn't on the list, because those wasn't on the list. They have everything on the list at homegrowndetroit.com, and they, that wasn't on the list. So once you submit documents that's not on the list that will prove you were here for that particular year, you need to submit an affidavit for each document. So, you think about that. I had to submit damn near 10 documents, 10 affidavits for that thing. But I think they let me do it with 2 because I was proven for each set of years. But Yeah, it was a difficult process, and I was happy to be be made a part of the program. But I had to make some noise. I had to continuously call.
Mm-hmm.
I had to continuously fight for everything that I was submitting.
That's the thing. They knew you.
Yeah,
they knew you. They was like, "Oh, Matthew calling again."
Yeah.
Like,
when I went to some networking programs, it was like, "Oh." I said, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And they would say, "What's your name?" Man, oh, we know about you.
mm-hmm.
Oh, we know about you. So like my guy from Authentic 513, Willie would say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So you just have to continuously make noise. Shout out to Authentic.
Shit. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I had a good one. Just kind of forgot. What'd you bring over? What kind of pack was that?
Are we talking about my guys from Sozo today?
So, we got some Sozo that we about to get into, but you actually was gracious enough. And that's the thing. I tell none of my guests to put, like, I'm going to supply it, but you pull up with your own. And I feel like that's by nature, So, what'd you go pull up with?
This right here. So this is a certain cut of a Girl Scout.
Gotcha.
So a certain cut of a Girl Scout. But me and my team, we've been working. He's a part of my team, so we've been working with some different growers to just test to see what strains we're really going to like. That's coming from different grows, and then we're going to go ahead and do a branding deal with them, and we're going to go ahead and turn it to my strain. You know what I'm saying? We're going to turn it up. You know what I'm saying, through our music.
Mm-hmm. So in the search for like, the search for like pheno hunting and what to grow, but on the consumption side, on the consumer side, what do you look for in a weed to smoke? Like, what do you gravitate to, or what calls you out, in a sense? Like, what factors of cannabis help you make a purchase?
I think it's for me specifically. I like the specifically. People always make fun of me when I say that. So people that see this going know that. Yeah, I think I look for the terpene profile. For me, it's the terpenes. It's the terpenes for me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's that smell, that look. Of course, we're looking for look. We're looking for those trichomes on that thing to be popping. We're looking for that smell to be coming off of that thing. We're looking for the bud structure to be nice. You've been smoking cannabis for a long time, like we have. You'll know how the bud structure looks. So you look for certain things in your cannabis. And guys and girls, when you're out here shopping for cannabis, make sure you're giving it that look test, but of course you give it that smell test.
Mm-hmm.
And what you supposed to smell is different. It's so many different terpene profiles, and we're not going to get to name them. I think one of my favorites is limonene. It's that lemon smell. You get that citrus, that citrusy smell from that. And my guys over at Heavyweight Heads grew a great strain called Orangutan, and it's just multiple different cuts of orange strains together, and that's an amazing strain. And I think that's what I look for, flavor profile and taste. I look for the experience. I've been smoking a long time. I'm not just trying to get high. I use it for meditation purposes. I use it to relax, ease out. I use it for recreational, so I'm looking for that experience.
And shouts outs to Heavyweight Heads, shouts outs to Willie J. Peso. I like the giraffe heads because I feel like I can identify in the sense like when people ask me how good is it, I'll be like, man, I'm high as giraffe pussy. So like,
yeah, that was a G's name. Shout out to Peso.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm like, shouts out, you. That's it right there. But and that's like a highly like educated like perception of cannabis. So what do you at what point like did it take like what stage were you at in life when you realized let me actually start looking at the trichomes, the terpenes and the bud structure and all that?
Well, I think when I graduated, when I started going to the shops and they had the explanations and the the descriptions of all of the different cannabis strains, and I was like, and I already knew I loved cannabis. I just knew I loved it from that first time I enjoyed it. The first day you're gonna hear it. I think I wrote a record for it already, but I'm gonna actually put a real record out about it. The first time I experienced it and things like that. So
gotcha.
I'm the full story on that one. I think it's just a connection with it, making that social connection.
Yeah. So I see you got that joint in your hand. Tell me some details about that. Can you read some little facts off that jar real quick? What we
Most
got there?
definitely. We got it from my guy Sozo. Thank you. Brought to you by, 6 Way Studios and Sozo. We got this is Beet Cookie, and this is an indica hybrid. And I like indica hybrids too, you know what I'm saying? Because we're looking for strength, but I still need a little sativa in there, you know what I'm saying? To
Facts.
get through the day. And it's 21% THC strong.
Which ain't bad at all. Anybody out there talking about, if you don't get high if you only smoke a certain percentage, come smoke with me. Come sit down, and I promise you're going to be asking for an Uber back because you ain't going to be driving.
Guys and girls, also, when you're smoking cannabis, don't just look for the highest THC percentage too. You know what I'm saying? Look for the description of the cannabis, what it's mixed with, what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed to do for you. Because certain things, when you smoke in the daytime, you don't need no high THC amount, and sometimes when you're about to go pass your ass out, you don't need no high THC amount. So it's just about what you need from it. And I got some things that smoke that says 19%, blew your socks off. Some things that smoked at 24% didn't do anything for you because it's about the grower too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Always look at the cannabis strain. People have an eye. I'm gonna be a sommelier or whatever they call that thing for people that know about wine and shit. I'm gonna know about cannabis.
Like a connoisseur type
stuff. I am a connoisseur, definitely, and that was the word I definitely was looking for. But definitely that, person that just knows everything about it. I have a personal relationship with cannabis, you know what I'm saying? Because of the medical benefits that it do for me. Because I was supposed to be on Ritalin, later on supposed to be on Adderall because they say you got ADHD, focus. We know what it's called, attention disorder, blah, blah. But, they said I have that. And with cannabis, especially when I was in my college years, I was able to use cannabis to relax and focus for hours on one thing.
Right.
And graduate. And I did graduate in 2012 from Central State University. Shout out, go Marauders. Shout out to my Centralians.
And that's the thing, like, people couldn't understand what I would, smoke. Like, I would smoke right before a study session because, like, it was the only way I could focus on one thing and actually execute in a timely fashion, So there's that community that will be like, yes, he knows himself. Because not everybody built like that.
Most definitely.
I think that's important too, is knowing yourself and knowing what really hits at right point. Some people, they had that edible story that they took. They took a high dose edible and it just knocked them out. They took an edible and the edible took them. And it's like, I ain't trying that. But it's like, knowing, all right, but let me try a lower dosage or something like that. And then start out. Let me take another one during the day, and not when I got to do some important stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely a PSA to all of my weed heads. When you're dealing with those edibles, be very careful because they can definitely read 100 milligram, but it's like 100 milligrams of what? Yeah. Did they do it? Did they put isolate from it? Did they do the wax? You know what I'm saying? What did they use? What was the concentration? Did they, use a mix of wax and can of butter or can of oil or all of these things that you can extract and use to put into these baked goods or these treats and shit? Because I had a brownie this small. I woke up the next day and that things like that, you know what I'm saying? So we all have our stories. So be very careful when you're out in public, people, and you're taking these edibles and at these edible parties. Know what you're getting yourself into.
For sure. Definitely important.
I like that. It's got a good taste on it.
I noticed you was like tapping it a little bit. Like you went like, hold on for a minute. You went like, so what did that do when you first was it before or after you lit it?
I lit it and then I realized it wasn't giving me that hit I need. So I tapped it just to move that weed down in that joint so it can smoke a little bit better. Sometimes they overly pack the joints. Yeah. And trust me, I had times where I packed joints and multiple joints at a time. And you just got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? But these guys did a good job with that. It actually is good. I think they just wanted to put a lot of weed in there, and look out for their people. You know what I'm saying? That's really good. It's 1 gram too.
So, I feel like you are a connoisseur in cannabis, but also, in your leaf selection. So are you going to pack a joint before you roll a joint. Is that what I'm hearing? Because if you're gonna roll, is it gonna be a leaf?
If I'm gonna roll, normally it's gonna be a leaf, and we're definitely exclusive for Six Way Studios and here at the Owner's Manual. Working on my own Fronto Leaf company. It's gonna be called Grotto Leafs. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna put a G on that.
There it is. There it is. That's hard as hell.
They call me G.Gordy, so you know what I'm saying. Definitely we're gonna just put G and everything. But no, I just because I am a connoisseur, I'm a person that will, we consume this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I've found out the process, how it's made. These things are being grown. I was smoking these things, but I was smoking these leaves when they was coming over from New York in Ziploc bags. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what is that, my man? I'm like, it's these leaves. You know what I'm saying? So So normally when I roll, I'm gonna roll me a leaf up. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna definitely put a little crud in my leaf. Shout out to my nigga Some Real. But yeah. But when I do deal with joints, I was a roller of joints, but ever since my man's Little A the villain on all platforms and shit, he told me you gotta put a little stuff in your combs. You know what I'm saying? Stuffy Combs. That's his nickname, Stuffy Combs. I just made it up on but Stuffy Combs, you know what I'm saying?
Guys made him a check.
check. But he definitely said pack these up and it's the same thing like that. So yeah, whenever I switch, I may smoke a joint, but for the most part I'm smoking leaves.
Cool. You mentioned the Granto leaf. They call you G.Gordy, and that's something that we hear not just in person, but on other different platforms because, we family, we got that in our blood. So tell us about the journey and how that came, like how that name came.
Yeah, man. Shit, I've been rapping since forever, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, when I kind of graduated school, and I've been G.Gordy for this forever, so the G.Gordy origin is definitely my middle name is G. My initial is MGM. So I always just connected with the G. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling people every time, hey, man, my name's Matthew.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? I always use my nickname as G. So that's kind of always stuck with me. People call me everything from G. I ain't even gonna say that one, but they used to definitely G crack. When I started rapping, when I started spitting for the first time, when I really started spitting, they called me G Crack, and I mean, we just used to spit that shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's called crack music and shit like that. So yeah, they called me G Crack. So I always been G. Later on, when I graduated school and really started working to music production and started to really work with other artists and stuff like that, I became G.Gordy after the great Berry Gordy. You know what I'm saying, for creating Motown and working with all of the different artists and developing the different artists, and that's my vision to do that with my record label, Prospect Records, First Class Prospects.
And that's for me. I wish I would have known about it because I was in my journey. I was more to myself. You kind of saw it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm somebody. I'm a pride. I got so much pride at fault me sometimes. So I want to be so independent. So I don't ask nobody for help or support.
Oh yeah.
And I was just doing music naturally. And the funny thing is about me is I did not tell my parents that I was making music, even though they were so heavily into music, and they're the reason that I have my palate, my taste, and why I get inspired by certain people. Like my dad gave me a Lupe Fiasco CD. It was Food and Liquor, and that was the first lyrical CD I sat down with. The headphones locked in. Yeah, and I'm just I need to do this. You know what I'm saying? And then my mom's side, she was all R&B, so we would just sit down, listen Sade and Mary J type shit, and kept it cool. And then I remember be 3 years old, it just humming every melody to Wu-Tang Forever just from sitting in my dad with. You know what I'm saying? And he was such an audiophile. He knew what lyricism was. I was scared of Judgment. I felt like Judgment Day. I was man.
I'll give you definitely similar story. Shout out to your pops, Rico, aka Suave. You know what I'm saying? The OG.
That's my ugly twin.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before earlier in this, I was in foster care. You know what I'm saying? And when I came, after, in foster care, I went with my auntie, but after my auntie passed away, R.I.P. Aunt Betty, you know what I'm saying? After she passed away, I actually lived with your father, you know what I'm saying?
I remember off Trojan Street. I was 10. I was 2010? No, I was 06.
Yeah,
I was 06.
But yeah, I lived with him and shit like that. And he put me on all different type of music. He put me on all early Rockefeller. He put me on Down South, you know what I'm saying? Early Pimp C, early UGK, right. Early Devin the Dude. I mean, he definitely set my palette, you know what I'm saying, for this music shit like that. He set the tone for real, because all of the shit I listen to, Pac and everything. He put me on so much shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like he put me on the history of hip hop in that little small amount of time, and he put me on, listening to different shit. This is early mixtape time when they shout out to all of the mixtape websites that exist still, and that was out before we used to download mixtapes. Early that we used to download streams and shit like that. Before we used to buy CDs. I was with him. He was buying CDs. This nigga had, all the CDs. You know what I'm saying? So, we know we got to absorb music. So, that was a blessing.
And it's so interesting to hear like how music was obtained compared to like the era of digital streaming platforms. Everything we got: YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Music, all this stuff. New cars ain't even coming with CD players no more.
No.
I'm gonna be honest. I remember going through the CD, the black, like, damn near briefcase of just CDs. It felt like, man, like, the only way I can really explain it is like finding treasure with the explicitness of nudie mags, but it's music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely the exploration, right? The dirty, the bag, and then, but with the music. I mean, we was digging for records, just in a more upgraded era. You know what I'm saying, at that time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, because they used to do it with the 45s and the 12s and shit like that. They really used to get busy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, with CDs, in our time, we was able to find them. You know what I'm saying? When my first, exclusive, because this is Silk Soleil Studios, you know what I'm saying? You got to drop an exclusive on the owner's manual. So my blessing to the music, you know what I'm saying? My mama gave me my first Walkman CD player. That's how, we're just going to leave it there. I had a Walkman CD player. So, and my first project that I had was the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack. That's my favorite song on there. And the song that might have changed my life and turned me off to the music shit for real, that made me really interested in hip hop and made me love this shit, you know what I'm saying? Was Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack, featuring Biggie Smalls, the late great. Rest in peace. And rest in peace, Craig Mack. So yeah, that's a blessing. That's the lyrical in there. I think it was just with him and my mans and shit like that. And then it was like the remix. So it was so many different artists busting and shit like that. Y'all gotta listen to that Flavor in Your Ear, Flavor in Your Ear original, Flavor in Your Ear remix. Facts. Major shit was going on. So that was what turned.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I say, like a treasure, buried treasure, but like nudie mags with music. And I say that because like my discovery of like West Coast music was like in down south, West Coast and down south. It was E40, Too Short, and like NWA.
Yeah,
they make church rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then down south, like MGK and 8 Ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't talking about sipping like
8 Ball and NJG.
Yeah, like,
they're not talking about that. And Scarface.
They're not talking about. That, like the same shit Lecrae talking about.
Right, Scarface, all them bars in there. But yeah, I think music was just a major component of our life, and that's what led me into doing it. And right now I got the Line EP out, dropped out. We dropped it in 2020. And what was the late bloom on music? You know what I'm saying, to really start releasing projects was just bullshit, and not believing. You know what I'm saying? And I tell anybody, if you got a dream and you got something you believe in, go for it. Don't wait for it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know, you know what I'm saying, what you can do. And you don't know who will believe in you. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the project is out. I got one song, like 30,000 views, you know what I'm saying, in like, a year. You know what I'm saying? These are, small milestones, but these are still milestones. And like, what could I do if I had the track record to put out more music before this time and build that thing? So, yeah, just continue to believe in yourself. So yeah, I got the Line EP out right now. The song is called Hold Up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just doing numbers. You know what I'm saying? And the plan is to drop the Line is the first EP, and this is going to be a series of projects with the Line. It's like the line is a metaphorical thing, you know what I'm saying? I've been waiting in the line, been waiting for too long. We've been waiting, but we something to anticipate for. So the line is, to build up the anticipation, and then we drop in the dispensary, you know what I'm saying? The real one, of course, and, the project in the dispensary is just going to be, I'm going to open up all of what's been going on with me, my journey through being in the cannabis industry and chasing to getting my license and getting everything together and all of the things that I'm going through, the actual culture of Detroit and the market of it, everything that's going on. And we're just going to talk a little game, give them a little game, you know what I'm saying? Talk a little slang, give them some shit, you know what I'm saying? Give a little, verbiage to them, you know what I'm saying? So they can, people's really happening out in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they talk about it enough. California was like the first state to really pop it off recreational, but I mean, we've been making strides, you know what I'm saying? Just in the last month, I think we made 100 million, 162 million last month, in revenue for the cannabis industry. So, boys and girls, it's a big industry, you know what I'm saying? Don't hesitate to get in there, you know what I'm saying? Black, white, and indifferent, whatever your nationality is, it's a space for you, you know what I'm saying? It's predominantly white right now, you know what I'm saying? But, it's not their fault, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely still pent against us. There's a lot of things against us still in that. So we still got to fight for that. So, at Paradise Valley Cannabis, that's going to definitely be one of our reach out and one of our community benefits plans. We're going to definitely help people enter the industry that look like us, the black and brown people that might have some of the issues to get in there. So that's going to be one of our biggest initiatives. We're going to start doing that next month, actually, you know what I'm saying, really starting to look out. So just look out for that. And you can email us at Paradise Valley Cannabis at gmail.com, you know what I'm saying? If you got any inquiries, you know what I'm saying, to talk about that. If you got any problems, and I'll give you any game for free. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here to do. Give you game for free. Get in this industry. Cool. Don't let them top you. You know what I'm saying?
That's hard. Last weekend, we got to experience the Motor City Roots Festival. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely the Motor City Roots Festival, brought to you by my guys, my guy, big homie Nate, you know what I'm saying, connected to Superfood Detroit, you know what I'm saying, the company that I work with, investing into. We take that very serious, that superfood, health food supplements, everything from seed muds to black seed oil, everything like that. Check us out, superfooddetroit.com. But yeah, it's brought to you by Superfood Detroit, brought to you by my guy Kano, brought to you by my guy Pablo. These are the guys that I knew that set up the promoter thing, was the promoters on the event. And it was just a major music festival, you know what I'm saying? They brought out some major artists, you know what I'm saying, from Fabulous to Pusha T. And they had a lot of vendors out there from, had about 7, 8 different cannabis vendors. They had mushroom vendors out there, food vendors out there. Of course, we was out there with the superfood. I mean, it was a blessing. It was a blessing. Everybody, it was a big audience that came out, and I think it's going to be an annual event that they're going to start doing. But it was just a major event to bring people out, to invite them into the city, the music of the city, because you had people come out like my big dog Peasy over there, Team Eastside, and you had GT come out. You had some real Detroit artists come out and do their thing, just to show them Detroit and show them the cannabis market. And I think that event is going to be the foundation and kind of the model for how events is going to be done for cannabis in the future. For Detroit, yeah, because
every culture is different.
Every culture is different, but that's what we need. We're going to connect the music culture with the actual, with the cannabis, as they do anyway. So it's not a new thing, but I think in Detroit, we're not doing enough connected events around cannabis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
are we doing some, but it's not enough.
Not enough for almost make $200 million in revenue, and we're not talking about it. And then most people are exposed to it on that level of recreational, and we enjoying it. But yeah, it's a big business, you know what I'm saying? So you could come out there with ancillary businesses, aka ancillary means things that's not connected to the plant.
Not plant touching,
you know what I'm saying? And you can connect your business to it too, you know what I'm saying? You got a food business, a perfume business, a skincare business, you know what I'm saying? It all goes into the cannabis game, so you know what I'm saying. I think it's No, it was exciting. It was exciting to see my man's Fabulous come out on stage, but it's going to be exciting to see Motor City Roots Festival happen again next year and just be bigger and have more cannabis vendors out there. We seen definitely seen Stizzy out there.
Shout out to my man Zach from Stizzy. I see him all the motherfucking time, real homie. Gotta
So,
get him on next time
yeah,
too.
definitely got to get Zach on from Stacey. So they did their thing. They had artists come out and do their thing. So it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Had Herbology out there. I'm just gonna say Herbology did a dope ass thing.
Shout out to Herbology.
Shout out to Herbology. Shout out to our guys out there. We definitely need to talk about doing some definitely. But yeah, they came out. Said just, while y'all out here enjoying this concert event, you know what I'm saying, smoke on us, and they threw joints into the crowd. That shit was live as hell, you know what I'm saying. We were sacked up of course. Right. So, but it was exciting that they threw that many joints out. And shout out Cushman. I think was it Cushman?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Cushman too. He threw out a nice amount of weed.
So Willie J be throwing out shit from over heavyweight heads. They be throwing out shit. I be seeing them at music functions, celebrating shit. But talking about the musical, the cultural influence that music has, and then how closely tied cannabis is to music. What are some of your favorite cannabis rapping musicians that inspired you through your life's journey?
We're definitely gonna start with the forefather, you know what I'm saying, the original pioneer of this cannabis talk. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about Brother Devin the Dude, you know what I'm saying, coming out of Texas. Part of the infamous, you know what I'm saying, Rap A Lot Records. Yeah, he has definitely been a major influence forever since I've been listening to him early, and he was sprinkling it in different songs and then make straight songs about it, know, just crazy and shit like that. So he's one of them. We're gonna definitely say Snoop Dogg is definitely one of them, you know what I'm saying? Just the way he definitely is, the elegant way he's gonna talk about everything, but definitely cannabis and shit like that. We're gonna definitely say Wiz Khalifa, you know what I'm saying? Because when he came out with the Orange and Kush, Orange and Kush, it was different, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of changed the game.
The Kush and OJ?
The Kush and OJ, of course. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. But just because we off that type of shit. But my dog Currency, you know what I'm saying, his travel, through the industry and shit like that, the way he just apply pressure with the game, the game talking and just, we just gonna roll up every time, we gonna make life happen. We gonna do it.
Yeah.
And my dog Burner, you know what I'm saying? My dog Burner.
Shouts out Burner. Can't leave him out the conversation.
Definitely can't leave Burner out the conversation. My dog got cookies, you know what I'm saying? One big bag talk, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about interstate talk, you know what I'm saying? He definitely put a lot of game down, and then he did the major thing with the entrepreneurship with the cannabis brand. He's been killing it.
And putting his boys on too, because he put Wiz on. He was the reason for Khalifa Kush. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely gave him a strain and shit like that. They gave each other opportunities. It was a beautiful thing. So
it was beautiful.
These guys, these guys is definitely my influences and shit. Definitely on the we definitely gonna approach this game, and definitely how we gonna approach this business. This cannabis business too. So like I said, we mixing it up. So we got first class prospects connected to this Paradise Valley thing, and we just gonna take it to the moon. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
With Six Way Studios, you know what I'm saying, brought to you every time by, you know what I'm saying. And Six Way, definitely before we get out of here, you know what I'm saying, and definitely before off the subject, the Six Way projects, make sure y'all gonna check those out too. You know what I'm saying? This latest project, So Cold, I think, because you definitely made the songs, you know what I'm saying, way more, just, every time you dope and you lyrical, but I think you just made it, gave us a cooler vibe and you made it way more relatable. Talked about a lot more shit, and you got more personal with the shit. And I think it's a song, the way you arranged it was dope, you know what I'm saying? So
thank you. I got a lot of creative feedback, you know what I'm saying, which was super dope. And I don't think I got as much on the first project too, but thank you, that's love. And I wanted to create an actual experience, like you kind of know what I'm feeling when I'm going through it. And I did try to be more relatable because you know, like we had them hour-long conversations like in the, you know, last winter and shit like that, you know, and I was in the office late night, like frustrated as hell with some past situations, and just you put it on the mic, you know what I'm saying? And it definitely helped. And I was talking about it with my boy V2 last time he was here, and you know, I dropped the outro as like a premier single, you know, and they was like, why you do that? And I'm like, did you listen to it? Like these are instructions, my G. Like when I drop this album, I need y'all to back up, like get the fuck out, evacuate, you know. And you know, I had my first, like I would say, like vulnerable song on there, TTXSS, which was Tatiana Tees and Silk Suede. And it was like I said a lot of shit that I probably would keep from my therapist, damn near, you know what I'm saying? But it helped me, you know, help me grow.
Share that shit. You know, he got that game off his chest. Yeah. And, you know what I'm saying? The people gonna relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, you know, not everybody, but most lyrical people can rap and put those shit together. But when you mix it with the stories of your real life that not only is real to you, but is, you know, relatable to everybody else, you know what I'm saying? That's that shit that changed people's lives. And I think that's important. Definitely give niggas perspective on some game, you know what I'm saying?
And I was experimenting before that too, like with the sound and just how I wanted to create, and like just certain shit was emerging. I'm like, man, like that's such a dope sound. I kind of want to be a part of it, but also I need to rap my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to be the dude selling a life he ain't living. I can't relate to. I ain't talking about choppers and, you know, and Glocks, beams, scopes. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. My shit don't got a cube on the back. So hey, that's it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You know, from that aspect of, you know, I'm getting this. I'm making life happen.
Right. I'm getting this shit. Fact. And I'm really doing it. You know, and ain't nobody gonna stop me type shit. So yeah, I appreciate it. But one thing about that album is like that was the first time I got burnt out on the project, in the sense of like, and it helped me realize I need to reach out to my tribe, to the valley that I come from, you know, my supporters who like want to see me win, because I did everything in the terms of like mixing and just like graphic design and like the promotion and everything. Like soon I'm gonna get to the point where I'm gonna have a producer, have an engineer. I mean, you're gonna be there at, you know, in some capacity, because right, you know, and be like, all right, bet you just rap. We got the graphic design, and you might just need to post it, and then we're gonna, you know, repost it. But that shit like burnt me out. So by the time I was doing it, making the tracks, I'm like, damn, that's good. The funny thing is, I made my music more accessible. Started doing the podcast, and now niggas want more music. And I'm like, you know, I put it somewhere they can go listen to it after the podcast. And they're like, man, we want this shit. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And
the game.
So we here, you know. Shouts outs to Sozo for the pack. What we got here? Can you tell us what we got?
We got the legendary Fatso right here. I think this is we knowing that this is one of the, you know, premier strains. But let me go ahead and smell it. You know what I'm saying? This is what they say. You know, I'm gonna give you that real opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Give it that unboxing.
Here at the owner's manual. You know what I'm saying? That good. Shout out to that bee sting. Definitely was good. I think they call it bee sting or the bee cookie, because that should be stinging. That should be stinging.
And these are both their house brands. Sozo is a vertically integrated organization, or vertically integrated operation. They have their own grow, their own processors. So they make flour, they produce concentrates and carts, and they have a retail too. So you can go to any of their retail stores. The one by me is in Pleasant Ridge, right off the highway, right off exit 17. If you go, tell them Silk Suede sent you, and you go and get 20% off and 2% cash back on your next purchase. So tap in. A loyalty program is low key next to none. I'm not even gonna cap on that. I done been to a lot of dispensaries. They doing it right. What you think about that?
I like the bud structure. Definitely. I like the smell. Definitely got like that pineal. That's another terpene profile.
That gives it that pine smelling like trees. It's like a pinene.
Pinene.
Something like that.
Right. Yeah, I like it. I definitely like it.
Now, are the facts on the jar or itself or on the is ain't on here? Is it an indica dominant or a sativa dominant? Did it say on there? No.
Let's see. It did not tell us on this one.
Well, shouts out to him.
Shout out to him.
That's how you know I'm a real influencer. No, I'm fine. They got that legendary Fatso.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the smell of this.
And
put that on the roll-up list for we get further.
So is that something that you would like you rolling that up or you pack that into a cone?
I might, because I do when I do smoke shit with that, like, like give me that, that kind of backwood pine smell. I like put that. I'm gonna put that in the joint. I think it's gonna definitely stink a little bit better. Stink I mean good smell. And it's gonna give me that buzz. And I always love to test new strains out in papers. You know what I'm saying? I like to test some strains out in papers. So I normally roll me up a leaf, but you know what I'm saying? I definitely want to test out anything new. Something I could get that full flavor taste on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like to when I get like a little AFI pack. I definitely, if it's a new strain, and I get like a pack of papers, roll one, and then just roll woods the next. Because I'm like, all right, I got the taste. I know what it is, type of shit. And then, sometimes the flavor of the wood, you know what I'm saying, be powerful depending on. Because sometimes it ain't a wood. It'd be like a game leaf or something like that. Like I do fuck with them bitches. Like they, I don't know, like a pack of you could get a pack of woods, what they come 5 in a pack. That's like $7, or you can spend $3 and get 6. That's just me though.
They crazy.
I'm like, why would I? Do they know? I was like, but quality. Like, if you like that, you like that. It comes with a certain burn. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
It comes with a certain burn, definitely. You know what I'm saying? I think people just like that shit. Like I said, I'm a big leaf person. We definitely like the roll. The already rolled. So we can unravel and get to it. But what's
separates the grottos coming soon? What separates a good leaf from a bad leaf?
And due to the companies even seeing this, you know what I'm saying, they call it the dark leaf or the light leaf. You know what I'm saying? The light leaf is normally a little bit too thin. You know what I'm saying? It don't give you that burn. You burn a little bit fast. And, you want the burn. It burn like paper. Yeah, not the good papers. You know what I'm saying? Brought to you by paper companies. Whoever want to give you that check. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely start shouting them on in the next episode when we really talk about the Detroit market. But I think a good leaf is going to be a good dark leaf, and it's going to be one without the veins. You know what I'm saying? And the veins is the smoker smoke. Things that run right through it type shit. So
it's like a different structure of colorism.
Yeah,
we do not.
And that's why I say I don't like to do this, but then we see the companies responding. They dropping things called dark leaves, and we got the backwards. They got the dark leaves and the dark questions. And they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because the people talk. You know what I'm saying? The people talk. So we ain't gonna. We're gonna keep it real on here. It's the owner's name. You know what I'm saying? The owners is really recognizing the game is changing. They did a study in a Cincinnati University about that was $15 million study. Y'all can look it up. That was done on why do African Americans smoke so many blunts? It's $15 million just to investigate why do we smoke so many blunts. You know what I'm saying? Who knows why we started smoking blunts? We definitely could credit it to Tupac. We love Tupac, of course. We're gonna credit to Tupac because he say he started rolling blunts. I don't know who introduced him to blunts. Maybe Snoop introduced him to blunts, but now Snoop smoking blunts and joints. You know what I'm saying? But definitely hip hop music.
But I say this,
they did a study they stole that money from the government. Go ahead.
didn't some white Cali kids introduce Snoop to weed? Or is my fact wrong? I feel like I was watching like a documentary and it was talking about how like Drake came up with the Chronic or something like that. I don't know if it had heavy influence on Snoop.
I think Snoop introduced Drake to this Chronic, this strain.
Okay. And they was thinking about ideas for the album, maybe. And they came up with the Chronic from some white kids, maybe. But like the white kids are part of the mix.
We're definitely gonna say early cannabis in California was definitely probably all white, hippies. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna credit it to them. Probably starting out and popping the seeds off here in America. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, they was like, that's just the war on drugs type shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because Nixon wanted to like stereotype white people. They said they couldn't incarcerate white kids for smoking weed or white people for smoking like meth or heroin or something like that. So we gonna criminalize it, or we gonna like. No, it was something. I don't know. We definitely don't edit that. I'm gonna have to do some research on that vision, but yeah. So, how do you want to taste test that fact? So we can get we got some papers, or we got the bong over there. Where we got the leaf? What you want to do?
I definitely want to put it in the leaf and see what it do. I want to see what it do in the leaf, but let's bring out the Silk Suede bong collection. And one of your collections and one of your pieces, and see what it do, and then we're gonna put it in the leaf.
Yes, sir. So the thing is about this motherfucker right here. This is Silk Suede original glass, probably number like 11. Cause if you know me, you know me. Like I went from being a dude that was always rolling blunt to now I was like, man, I don't want to smoke weed with y'all niggas. I'm gonna just go to the crib, and then I started hitting the bong. Became a lifestyle move, but we definitely gotta empty this motherfucker first, cause we still got some left, but we probably just gonna take one hit, empty it out, cause we don't got all day.
It's all good with me. Shit's the honest man. You gotta if you can't smoke cannabis all day, you can't sell it all day. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ones. I understand there's some owners that don't enjoy it, but they better have somebody on their team that do. So you gotta understand your product. You know what I'm saying? You gotta follow. You gotta be in the farm, baby.
What about to do?
So
no, you hit that.
All right, that's some shit.
Then we
I was just admiring. You know what I'm saying? The effort. You know what I'm saying? So let's do it.
You about to. Let me see that. Alright, let me get a little toothpick.
So, I want to know something about y'all. Your host. He can smoke you under the table, and then beat you under the table and be like, "You ready?" But nah, I'm chilling. So remember that.
That is, I think, the only people that could outsmoke me is low key them, 1990s to 08 caregivers. Them niggas are built. I gotta pay homage to them. Ain't nobody my age that's outsmoking me. I'm gonna put money on that. I got it.
Shout out to Snoop, 19 Crimes family. They, no sponsorship dollars yet, but we definitely say no. It's all love though. So we enjoy that wine. Shout out to Snoop. And this is another thing showing you that hip hop and the cannabipreneurs out here doing their thing. People, the game is definitely up.
No, for real. Shouts outs to Snoop Dogg, because one thing I plan on doing, I'm gonna do a show at Motor City Wine in Corktown. I gotta speak that into it. You ever been? Man, that place is they got a smoke section outside. You can be a connoisseur, in both aspects of the wine tasting and the cannabis terpene tasting too. So
nice.
I definitely want to do a show and an event there one day, but I gotta, got a couple other steps I gotta take before I get there, but in the terms of connoisseur and taste testing, we're like all that is relative. Like, but of course, there's liabilities. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure people can get Ubers and all that.
Yeah,
we do
because
not
when you
condone
get
that
too
drinking
hot,
and driving.
don't be driving.
Right.
You feel me? Be relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Wait till that shit come down, or know how
Yeah.
to blow your shit a little bit and let it come down. You know what I'm saying? Definitely know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a quick way. You know, and this is definitely for edible eaters. You know what I'm saying? Too, if you have CBD or keep some CBD with you, that can take down the edible high, because it's really hard to blow that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you digest some CBD, let's have some CBD treats or some shit like that. You can take that while you're too high for edible, and it can bring it down. You know what I'm saying? Chefs use this when they're doing the cannabis events. But let's definitely speak to cannabis events, the Six Way Studio cannabis events in the future, because we definitely want to do something this next summer, probably. You know what I'm saying? With you know, full blown,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Probably something, you know, like our guys with Motor City, but just, you know, on some full blown. We definitely going to do some the educational portion. It's going to be full cannabis, but let's do an educational portion. Maybe do a panel, and then let's do a concert.
So the exclusive, you know what I'm saying? But the plan is to start out small. We gonna do the Silk Suede soiree. That's for your mental. That's for the taste in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So you get the education. And then we're gonna do a festival of some sorts. I haven't figured out the wordplay because you know what I'm saying. You know how I do, but it's gonna be some type of festival. That's gonna be for the body high. Like that's we up and down. And a lot of festivals I've seen sometimes struggle with bringing the hype because the audience is just too high. Like we're making money, but of course, Motor City Roots, festival, that was pretty lively. That was lit. You know, it was pretty engaging in the crowd, and I think it takes. That's one thing you know about cannabis events. It takes a different kind of MC. You know what I'm saying? Because these events don't have alcohol. So these MCs that are at these normal concerts that sell alcohol are used to that element in the crowd.
You know they don't want to let you have the straight weed event with the alcohol. So sometimes because you feel me? Because some of the artists, when they came out, it was hard to get them turned up. You either hit them with the songs they know, but you understand weed events. You know what I'm saying? We got weed artists, but you got I love Fabulous, and I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely I love the whole event. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted Fabulous. Why Fabulous didn't do even though probably copyright issues, but you got certain smoker songs and shit like that. So you definitely should do a smoker song. Yeah. I definitely love the catalog. You know, where we should do smoker songs. And this is a smoker event, and smokers are gonna come out. And we got those, but you know, we got a lot of definitely probably since COVID. We got a lot of them, they just want to stay in the house now too.
Yeah, it's some people are definitely.
You can see it was some people not smoking there.
Right.
There was some non-smokers, and they're like,
just like spectating
and shit like that. That's cool. I'm not mad at them. We're not mad at people. If you don't smoke, you don't smoke. That's cool. I love. And I hope we definitely gonna be able to cohabitate together as smokers and non-smokers. But definitely a big boy cannabis event. I wanted more smokers in there. You know, so probably. The smokers are just chilling too much, you know what I'm saying? We need to smoke some sativa, you know what I'm saying? Smoke some sativa strains, you know what I'm saying? Smoke some good shit. So
I'm gonna say this though, if we smoked only sativa in comparison of how much weed we smoke, I would have had 8 anxiety attacks.
Woo! I would have. my bro said such shit. So I feel you. No, some sativa, it could go from social into do that.
Right, no, so like, nigga, don't touch me. Like, and it's just like the wind. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so thank you again. Brought to you by Sozo. Again for having me. Love you too, cuz. And shout out to Sozo, legendary fatso. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real smoker. So I love B Cookie, 21% good. Let's see what this do.
Yeah, you handed that to me like a joint. Like it was a wood. God damn. I'm trying to go to Mars. Like, and there I was, floating away. Let me see what this talking about.
Flavor is good on there. Yeah,
Fuck with it.
fuck that. Okay, I see where they put legendary. I swear to that.
That's the thing. Like, I smoke concentrate, and yeah, we took that dab before we left. Definitely had me. But this is like I'm used to it though, so I'm just like I'm cool. Like, but I'm like I tell myself I'm gonna come down in a minute. Like but I do. Like,
Sway, you had me froze, bro. Yeah, when we took that dab before the event, I had a fully stuffed wood, and after I took that dab, it wasn't even like that was even there no more. It was cool. I'm like, we like it. I'm like, maybe I'm just cool. I'm high. We just hit the bitch. I'm gonna wait till we get to the car. Got to the car, and I explained to Brody and explained to you how I felt. I just told you my brain was melting. That's what happened. My brain melted when we hopped in the car. So we got into the car, drove my mother probably sparked the shit in there. And then brain melted. If this had a visual, this is how high I was. If it had a visual, I would see butter right here, and it would be melted to the bottom, and it would be coming out my eye. But it wouldn't be butter. It would be like that rainbowish thing that be in the movies and shit that's dripping out my eye. I was that high, and I felt that shit. I don't even know why that visual came to me. So whatever was in there should be banned. No, I'm talking shit.
Stop.
But no, you know what I'm saying? You know, Zay is definitely definitely a true smoker, you know what I'm saying? Because I talk that shit. And I do smoke concentrate. We smoke different concentrate, but yeah, that shit right there was top notch, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the guys that Sozo, shout out to the guys that did that too. Cause,
yeah, but that's like we came down though, and then like we was chilling there, little, you know, by like we was by like a fine honey section, I think, like at some point.
Yeah,
but I was so smoked out my mind, like I'm just like I could easily just fall back at any moment, like, and I'm gonna just make sure I got my arm on this fence, and everything straight. But that's the thing, like that was at like, because I'm not used to smoking that much tobacco, you know what I'm saying? So like it was like wood after wood through it, which like I'm straight, like I can,
cause like
I ain't never gonna
no,
like,
you never
yeah, I'm like, all right, here we go.
No,
Like,
real smoker shit.
Real
smoker, yeah. We're back to back wood, and then you know we'll be at concerts. We definitely smoking like that. Mix with Joyce next time, but
hey, it ain't nothing. I mean,
nice,
I think
nice. Shout out to that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Zozo. You know,
legendary fast.
Shout out to the owner's manual for bringing you this episode and this game. That you know we're about to drop on you. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important, you know, as an owner, you know what I'm saying, as a, you know, when you call yourself a boss, leader, whatever you are, you know what I'm saying, play your position, know your role, you know what I'm saying, even as the boss, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to call yourself, just know your role and play it well, know your people. And stay focused on the goal, you know what I'm saying, even when the goal may seem unattainable or, you know, not close at all, you know what I'm saying, make sure you just keep pushing forward and diversify, you know what I'm saying, but don't lose laser focus. You know, make sure you know you got to keep the lights on, so you got to keep moving, doing different things, but never lose the sight of your dreams and your goals, no matter what they are. You know what I'm saying, and you know that's what makes you, you know, that's what could be considered strength. You know what I'm saying, when you can go against the current and come out. You know what I'm saying.
I'm about to run a marathon
above the water. You know what I'm saying. You know, and we don't even like to just put no, you know, just sauce on it type of thing. You know what I'm saying. I just think that's important. You know what I'm saying, to make sure that you know you staying true. Make sure you're staying true to your, you know, to the what you do. You know, making sure you stay true to
you know that
what you stand for.
I'm so glad I got that on video. I'm definitely going to chop that up and like keep that in like a. I'm gonna put that on my Sad Boys playlist at the end of it, so I know to get happy and get motivated. But in the terms of strength, if I offered you a dab right now, are you swimming against the current?
After the legendary too, we smoking legendary. We smoking about the future of our cannabis strain. But and all right, it's a dab.